Hello, welcome back for another video. This is going to be the second part of the Khmer Rouge Pol Pot story that my mom will be telling us. So the first part has already been uploaded. If you guys want to check it out, make sure you watch the first part. This will be the second part, and we're going to continue off, of course, leaving from the first part. So the first part, we got to where we were in the village. We were up in the mountains or the jungles and we were 10 family members were put there because they didn't have any food or anything to offer the Khmer Rouge. So they sent these 10 families up to the jungle, and that's where we left off. So we're gonna have my mom continue, and she's gonna start from there. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and let her start.
ពួកខ្ញុំនៅនឹងបានដាំចកាកបាសធ្វើចកាកបាសបានផលឲ្យទៅសហគមន៍គេទៅក្រុមគេហ្នឹងអ្នកធំគេហ្នឹងពួកគេឲ្យនៅនឹងបានចំនួន2ឆ្នាំចំនួន2ឆ្នាំកន្លែងគេហៅឲ្យគេមកកន្លែងហ្នឹងគេហៅចំការ4ជួរឈ្មោះព្រៃ4ជួរព្រៃធំហ្នឹងឈ្មោះព្រៃ4ជួរហើយពួកខ្ញុំក៏កាប់ចំការដាំកបាសនៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងនៅបាន2ឆ្នាំខ្ញុំកបាសហ្នឹងស្អីគេមកកបាសហ្នឹង cotton
oh okay
cotton
2ឆ្នាំហ៎
2ឆ្នាំខ្ញុំនៅបានខ្ញុំនៅបាន1ឆ្នាំជាងខ្ញុំម៉ែមានជំងន់ខ្លួនឯងមានផ្ទៃពោះខ្លួនឯងហ្នឹងហើយដល់មានផ្ទៃពោះទៅក៏នៅធ្វើគេឲ្យនៅធ្វើខាងក្នុងគេជប់ឲ្យទៅកាត់ចកាអញ្ចឹងម៉ែនៅនឹង2ឆ្នាំហើយនៅម៉ែនៅនឹងផែ2ឆ្នាំម៉ែមានទងន់ខ្ញុំអូខេ No 1ឆ្នាំអូខេប៉ុន្តែរួចកន្លែងហ្នឹងគេឲ្យនៅ2ឆ្នាំហើយស្ដាប់អញសិនមិនឲ្យនៅ2ឆ្នាំឲ្យនឹងរហូតប៉ុន្តែអាយួននឹងវាចូលមកទៀតយួនចូលមកអូខេហើយដល់បានដាំចកាកបាសបានផល1ឆ្នាំហើយខ្ញុំក៏ចាប់ម៉ែក៏ចាប់មានទម្ងន់ខ្លួនឯងហ្នឹងហើយចាប់មានទម្ងន់ហ្នឹងក៏គេឲ្យនៅដាំបាយឲ្យពួកកម្មករចេញធ្វើការហើយដល់បានឆ្នាំរួចតណារួចកន្លែងហ្នឹងពេលម៉ែទៅដល់កន្លែងព្រៃហ្នឹងម៉ែថាពីមុនម៉ែថាមានម្ហូបច្រើនរួចពួកខ្មែរក្រហមអត់ដឹងប៉ុន្តែដល់យូរប៉ុណ្ណាទៅបានពួកខ្មែរក្រហមទៅដឹងថាមានអីគេម្ហូបអីនៅហ្នឹងដល់តែយើងកាប់ព្រៃធ្វើជាចកាបានវាព្រៃធ្វើជាចកាបានគេឲ្យប្រធានខ្មែរខំហ្នឹងចោះទៅមើលពួកយើងហ្នឹងអូខេដល់ចោះទៅមើលទៅគេឃើញថាយើងធ្វើការបានផលគេក៏បញ្ជូនស្បៀងបញ្ជូនម្ហូបអាហារអង្គអីទៅឲ្យអូខេខ្ញុំឈប់សិន Okay guys, I'm going to translate for her real quick. So from the first part, they were sent to the jungle because they didn't have anything to offer to the Communist Party. So they were sent there to meet their doom, but when they went there, there was a lot, it was really lushful. There was a lot of food, a lot of fruits, and then their job there were to grow cottons. And within the first year when the 10 families were there, when my mom was there, she was pregnant with me. I'm of course I'm filming it right now. So within 1 year of growing cottons, she had me, and then they had a lot of cottons and they had a lot of fruits and food to give to the Communist Party, to give to the Khmer Rouge Party. So in return, they gave them rice, they gave them salt and fish and all the other stuff that would sustain them to continue to work. Okay, so we're gonna continue. ដល់នៅបាន2ឆ្នាំហើយឮតំណែងថាទាហានខាងយួនហ្នឹងគឺខាងរាជការខ្មែរហ្នឹងចូលមករំដោះប្រជាជនពីខ្មែរក្រហមទាហានយួនរាជការខ្មែរទាហានយួនហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងអូខេទាហានហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងចូលមករំដោះប៉ុន្តែពួកយួនឯងមកពួកខ្មែរទាហានហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងពួកយួនអ្នកជួយយួនអ្នកជួយហើយព្រោះអីខ្មែរក្រហមសម្លាប់អស់ច្រើនណាស់ហើយខ្មែរហ្នឹងឈ្មោះលោកហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងនាំទាហានយួនហ្នឹងមករំដោះប្រជាជនពីខ្មែរក្រហមកុំឲ្យខ្មែរក្រហមសម្លាប់ច្រើនពេកហើយក៏ឮតំណែងដល់ឮតំណែងចឹងទៅ4ជួរហ្នឹងវាជិតព្រំប្រទល់ថៃព្រៃ4ជួរហ្នឹងជិតព្រំ
จิตปรุงประตูไทยให้เก็บคลายไปจีจุนนึงรถโจไทยเก็บกับเกียไปจีจุนนึงเอามาเฟิร์สไร
พวกใครก็หอมโอเค
ไปจูนไปจีจุนเราดำจากกับบ้านนั่งเอามาเฟิร์สไรเรานุ่มกับปิ้งปุ้ยเรานุ่มกับปิ้งปุ้ยเราต่างไงสกต่างไงในยังเราจะบ่งนึงนะ
Okay, Okay, guys, I'm going to translate real quick. So, within 2 years of working, of harvesting cotton, they got news that the Vietnamese soldiers were coming to fight with the Khmer Rouge soldier. And the Vietnamese soldiers, they were led by the current prime minister right now, Hun Sen. So, and at that time, they probably killed over 1 million Cambodians already. So I think 1.2 million or more than that. There's probably a whole bunch of uncounted numbers that we don't know. And so when the Khmer Rouge Party heard the news that that the Vietnamese soldiers were coming, they took all the families, they took all the villagers to a province called Camping Poi to work. Camping Poi to work because where they were at, they were too close to the Thai border and they were afraid that people were going to run into Thailand. That people were going to escape to Thailand from all the areas. So they took it far away from the border of Thailand and they took most of them to a province called Camping Poi. Okay, so we're going to let her continue. To grow rice. Okay.
ให้ដល់ទៅធ្វើស្រែខៅស្រែស្រូប3ខែហ្នឹងទៅដាំបានមួយចង្អាមគោខាងទាហានហ៊ុនសែនហ៊ានយួនហ្នឹង flip អ្នកស្រុកមកខាងអូមកខាងយើងនៅអូខាងលិចអូខាងកើតហ្នឹងទាហានយួនយកប្រជាជនមកបាត់ដំបងអស់ហើយ
Like នឹង east ឯង Like នឹង east ខាង east
west អានេះ west ហ្នឹង
ដឹងហើយបាទ east ខាងនោះ west ខាងនេះ
ខាង west ហ្នឹង
ខាង west ហ្នឹងពួកយើង
ខាងកើតហ្នឹងទាហានយួនទាហានហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងយកប្រជាជនឡើងទៅសេរីបាត់ដំបងអស់យកទៅបាត់ដំបងហើយនៅខាងយើងខាងនេះ
ខាង east
ខាង east នេះនៅជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហម
អូខេ
នៅជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហមហើយដល់ខ្មែរក្រហមដឹងតំណែងអញ្ចឹងគៀប្រជាជនពីស្រែមិនព្រឹងស្បល់ហ៎គៀប្រជាជនពីស្រែមកឲ្យនៅភូមិស្រីឲ្យដាំបាយខ្ចប់ជាមួយសាច់សម្រាប់បញ្ជូនទៅឲ្យធានខ្មែរក្រហមហើយប្រុសឲ្យនៅធ្វើឲ្យនៅយាមក៏ធ្វើស្រែធ្វើចការធម្មតា
អញ្ចឹងទាហានហ៊ុនសែនសម្ដោះពួកខ្មែរប្រជាជននៅខាង
នៅត្រៃមកខាង
នៅខាង west ហើយ
អូនឹងអូខាងអូប្រមាណអូធំ
អូប្រមាណអូនោះដូចគេ river stream river អូខេខ្ញុំឈប់ទៅសិន
river ទេ stream
នេះគេហៅអីគេ
អូ
ខ្ញុំដឹងហើយអូតំងែនOkay, guys, I'm going to translate real quick. So within the second year, the Vietnamese soldiers went in and they fought with the Khmer Rouge, and they were able to take the west side of the stream called O Tom Ngaien, and they were able to take all of the villagers and all of the Cambodians that were on the west side of the stream. They took them to Battambang, and they were safe. They were under Hun Sen's. They were under his protection, and my family was still on the east side under the Khmer Rouge. So that's what we got so far. So we're gonna let her continue.
ទាំងសងខាងហ្នឹងទាហានយួនហ្នឹងប្រុងមកដោះប្រជាជនពីខ្មែរក្រហមទៅមកខាងទៀតហើយមិនទាន់ចូលបានពុកបាញ់គ្នាទៅមកបាញ់គ្នាសម្ដៅប្រជាជនណាហើយទាហានយួនហ្នឹងខ្លាចត្រូវប្រជាជនព្រោះប្រជាជននៅច្រើនជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហមกันណាហើយចេះតែលបចាំចូលហើយដល់ប្រជាជនខាងអេ
បាទ west
ខាង west ហ្នឹងប្រជាជនគៀទៅអស់ហើយនៅខាង east នេះយួនចង់ដេញខ្មែរក្រហមចេញហើយយកប្រជាជនគៀប្រជាជនទៅវិញហើយមិនទាន់បានក៏ប្រជាជននៅជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហមហ្នឹងឲ្យស្រីដែលមានកូនមានអីដាំបាយផ្ទះថ្នត់ធំខ្ចប់ហើយខ្ចប់បាយខ្ចប់សាច់បញ្ជូនទៅឲ្យទាហានខ្មែរក្រហមដែលកំពុងវាយជាមួយយួនណា ហើយដល់ថ្ងៃមួយនោះម៉ែកំពុងតែដាំបាយជាមួយក្រុមស្រីដាំបាយអាំងសាច់ហើយសាប់តែហ៊ានយួនវាស្មាននៅខ្មែរក្រហមវាផ្លោងចូលក្របធំផ្លោងចូលចំកណ្ដាលរោងរួមបាត់កំពុងដាំបាយហ្នឹងហើយអាក្របហ្នឹងវាចូលទៅក្នុងឆ្នាំងបាយធំផ្ទុះឡើងដល់ផ្ទុះឡើងហ្នឹងផែម៉ោង1ហ្នឹងហើយផែម៉ោង1កន្លែងប៉ុណ្ណឹងម៉ោង1អាសៀលហ្នឹងហើយពុកបែកប្រជាជនបែកស្គាល់
រួយម៉ែនៅកន្លែងនេះបាយហ្នឹង
កំពុងដាំបាយហ្នឹង
ចាំមិនអត់ផ្ទុះនេះចឹង
វាផ្ទុះនឹងដល់វាទុបក្របបែកហ្នឹងក្នុងឆ្នាំងផ្ទះបាយធំហ្នឹងវាផ្ទុះនេះហើយដល់វាប៊ុំឡើងទៅហើយកំពុងបាញ់គ្នាប៉ែវបាញ់គ្នាខ្មែរក្រហមបាញ់ជាមួយយួនកំពុងបាញ់ចឹងហើយប្រជាជនហ្នឹងក៏រត់ហើយខ្មែរក្រហមវាគៀថាទៅរត់
Alright, so I'm going to translate that real quick, guys, so I don't get lost. So, at that time when the Vietnamese soldiers went in, were on the west side of the stream called Tangain. There was a lot of civilians on the east side that was still under the capture of the Khmer Rouge, so they couldn't just shoot because there was a lot of civilian and. All right, so the Vietnamese soldiers were on the west side of the stream called Tam Ngaien, and there was a lot of civilians still left on the east side of the stream under the Khmer Rouge regime. So it was kind of hard for the Vietnamese soldiers to go in because they didn't want to shoot all the civilians. There was a lot of civilians, and so they were being kind of cautious. But so at that time, the Khmer Rouge were letting all of the females, especially the pregnant female, work in like the cafeteria where they were cooking, where they were making and preparing food for the Khmer Rouge. And at that time. So they were preparing food for the Khmer Rouge, and so they were in this building, and then the Vietnamese soldiers thought that building was all Khmer Rouge, so they did an artillery attack, and the artillery landed into that building where all the females were cooking, and the artillery, I guess it landed in a big pot of rice. And it didn't explode. I mean, it exploded, but it didn't really kill that many people in there because the big pot of rice kind of contained the explosion. So my mom was in there also, and she was actually pregnant with me at that time. Oh, actually, I was already born. I was a baby. So, okay, so we're gonna let her continue.
ហើយដល់ក្របទូទៅឲ្យទៅហ៊ានខ្មែរក្រហមទៅហ៊ានយួនហ្នឹងបាញ់ខ្មែរក្រហមបាញ់ដេញខ្មែរក្រហមដើម្បីរំដោះប្រជាជនហ្នឹងហើយក៏ក្របបាញ់គ្នាទៅមកប្រជាជនហ្នឹងរត់ទៅតាមខ្មែរក្រហមហើយអ្នកដែលគេរត់ទៅតាមខ្មែរក្រហមគៀទៅលើភ្នំអស់ហើយនៅសល់ប្រហែលគ្រួសារហ្នឹងព្រោះឡៃទៅរត់រកកូនរកចៅហើយក៏យឺតទៅគេទៅចោលអស់ទៅក៏ខ្មែរក្រហមរត់ទៅអស់ទៅក៏ស្ងាត់ក្របនាំគ្នាវាចាញ់ពីផ្លូវដែលខ្មែរក្រហមគៀហ្នឹងចូលទៅស្រែក្នុងស្រែពួននៅនេះពួនប្រហែល 4-10 គ្រួសារពួននៅក្នុងស្រែពួននៅក្នុងស្រូវហើយដល់ពួនអញ្ចឹងទៅតាហ៊ានយួនចូលមកដល់ភូមិដែលយើងពួកម៉ែកំពុងដាំបាយកំពុងធ្វើម្ហូបហ្នឹងហើយចូលមកដល់ហើយខ្មែរក្រហមរត់ទៅអស់ហើយដល់ពួកប្រជាជនហ្នឹងចូលទៅពួននៅក្នុងស្រែហ្នឹងទាំងកូនទាំងចៅហ្នឹងយប់ហ្នឹងមកយប់ទៅភ្លឺដល់ព្រលឹមឡើងកូនចៅឃ្លានកូនខ្លះក៏យំហើយក៏ដេញឲ្យប្រុស2នាក់ប្តីនឹង2នាក់មកភូមិរមើលមហូបរមើលស្អីគេលោមានសល់ពួកខ្មែរក្រហមឡើងទៅអស់ហើយរួចគ្រួសារប្រហែលអ្នក10គ្រួសារនៅយើង
Okay ខ្ញុំបកប្រែសិន Okay, so once the artillery strike, that was a cue for the Vietnamese soldiers to go ahead and invade, and they were shooting with the Khmer Rouge soldier, and bullets were going back and forth, and they were able to flee make the Khmer Rouge soldier flee east even more. So they were able to save some civilians, and
So there was about 10 families that took the opportunity, and then they ran into the jungle, and they were hiding in the jungle in some kind of rice field. Srai. Yes. So they were hiding in some kind of rice field. So just so everyone know that we didn't really prepare this. We're kind of speaking as we're going. So as I'm asking her questions, I'm translating it. So that's why it doesn't sound smooth like if we actually prepared it. So we didn't really prepare it. So we're kind of just speaking and going along. So, and I wanted to do it this way instead of actually preparing, because I don't know, it just feels more real or something. Okay, so we're gonna let her continue. So right now they're hiding in the rice field, and the kids, there's babies. These 10 families have little kids and babies, and they're hungry. So these 10 families sent two male back to the village to try to get some food. So we're gonna let her continue.
ពេលបញ្ជូនប្រុសៗពីរនាក់ឲ្យមកសើបមើលក្នុងភូមិរមហូបហ្នឹងដល់ចូលមកដល់ទាហានយួននៅពេញភូមិហើយពីរនាក់ដែលចូលមកហ្នឹងអត់ចេះនិយាយភាសាវៀតណាមទេអត់ចេះនិយាយភាសាវៀតណាមទាហានយួនគេសួរក៏អត់ចេះឆ្លើយព្រោះគេចាប់ចងពីរនាក់ហ្នឹងទៅហើយអ្នកនៅចាំទទួលមហូបចាំទទួលតំណែងនោះអត់មានលឺអីក៏បញ្ជូនម្នាក់ទៀតម្នាក់ហ្នឹងចេះភាសាយួនចេះនិយាយយួនចេះនិយាយវៀតណាមហើយមកពីពួកយួនចាប់នោះមកពីពួកវាស្មានតែខ្មែរក្រហមហ៎ស្មានតែខ្មែរក្រហមប្រុសពីរនាក់ហ្នឹងអូខេស្មាធានខ្មែរក្រហមហើយដល់ពីរនាក់មកទៀតម្នាក់នោះចេះនិយាយយួនឈ្មោះឆឹងចេះនិយាយយួនហើយដល់មកទៅទាហានយួននឹងឃើញក៏ភ្ជុំចាប់ទៅម្នាក់ដែលនិយាយយួននឹងនិយាយដោះស្រាយថាពួកខ្ញុំប្រជាជនទេមិនមែនទាហានខ្មែរក្រហមទេទាហានខ្មែរក្រហមឡើងទៅលើអស់ហើយយកប្រជាជនឡើងទៅលើអស់ពួកខ្ញុំប្រមាណគ្រួសារនេះគេចខ្លួនបានមកពួននៅក្នុងស្រូវហើយបានរួចអញ្ចឹងគេបញ្ជូនពីរនាក់មកទៀតអញ្ចឹងពីរនាក់មកតាមក្រោយទៀតនិយាយភាសា
Okay, so they sent two male back to the village to try to get some food, and when they got to the village, the Vietnamese soldier thought that they were Khmer Rouge soldiers, so they took them captive. They held them captive, and the 10 families that were waiting in the rice field didn't hear from them, so they sent two more men, and one of the two men, his name is Kung. Chung. He actually spoke, or he actually spoke Vietnamese. So when the other two went to the village, they were also held captive by the Vietnamese soldiers. But the one that spoke Vietnamese was able to explain everything, that we're actually villagers. We're not Khmer Rouge soldiers. All of the Khmer Rouge soldiers have already fled up the mountains east. So that's where we got so far. Now we're gonna continue.
ហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅពួកដល់ឆឹងបញ្យល់ទាំងអស់ទៅថាពួកខ្ញុំប្រជាជនទេគេពីទាហានខ្មែររូបទាហានខ្មែរក្រហមមកហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅពួកយួនឲ្យយកម្ហូបយកអីឲ្យកូនឲ្យចៅហើយក៏គេបញ្ជូនថាទៅតាមផ្លូវនេះទៅបាត់ដំបងដល់តាមផ្លូវនេះសុកអត់មានខ្មែរក្រហមទេហើយពួក10គ្រួសារហ្នឹងក៏ទៅរៀបជួរគ្នាឡាញអាប់រៀបជួរគ្នាដើរមកទៅទិសខាង West អី
បាទខាង West
ទៅខាង West ហ្នឹងអ្នកឯងទៅខាង West ទៅកុំទៅខាង East កុំទៅខាង
West
ខាង West Side East Side បានទេទៅខាងហ្នឹងទៅដល់បាត់ដំបងហើយគោទាំងអស់គ្នាហ្នឹងអត់មានស្អីទេមានតែបាក់មានតែបាយបន្តិចហើយខោអាវមួយខ្លួនក៏នាំគ្នាទៅរងជួរដើរមកដល់តាមភ្លឺស្រែមកដល់ពាក់កណ្ដាលស្រែទាហានខ្មែរក្រហមសងខាងពាត់ដូចស្នែងកបីអញ្ចឹងមករត់ចាប់ពួកយើងហើយដល់មកដល់ហ្នឹងយាយមួយដើរពីមុខហ្នឹងវាភ្ជុំមកលើថាពួកអ្នកឯងទៅណាពួកអ្នកឯងចូលរត់ចូលខ្មាំងហើយដល់នេះទៅហើយម៉ែដើរពីក្រោយយាយហ្នឹងហើយដល់ថាពួកខ្ញុំមិនខ្មាំងរត់ចូលខ្មាំងទេព្រោះពួកប្រជាជនរត់ទៅអស់ហើយពួកខ្ញុំរត់មិនទាន់ក៏មិនដឹងទៅណាក៏ចេះតែដើរបរោះទៅអត់ហ៊ានប្រាប់គេទេហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅពួកប្រជាជនថាមុខស្លាប់មកពេលនេះមុខស្លាប់វាបាញ់ចោលអត់ព្រោះវាមិនដែរទុកទេតែថាខ្មាំងបាញ់ចោលហើយសិទ្ធិកម្មក៏ភ្លើងសិទ្ធិហ៊ានខ្មែរខំពីជួរហ្នឹងឡើងស
Okay, okay, so once the one of the villagers that spoke Vietnamese told them that they were all villagers, so they told the 10 families to head west, going towards Battambang, to head west, going towards Battambang as it would be safe. So these 10 families kept on walking towards Battambang, and as they were walking towards Battambang, they had 2 groups of Khmer Rouge soldiers. So they basically surrounded them, and the Khmer Rouge soldiers asked them where they were going, and all these 10 families were so afraid that they told them that they didn't know where to go because all of the families have already fled and they were left. They weren't able to run along with them because they fled so fast. So the Khmer Rouge soldier thought that they were traitors. So they started taking the gun. They took their gun and they put on one of the ladies' head, and everyone thought that they were all going to die right here. Everyone thought that they were going to get killed because the Khmer Rouge soldier thought that they were traitors. All right, so we're going to continue from where the 10 families were held captive by the Khmer Rouge soldiers, and these 10 families were thinking that the Khmer Rouge soldiers are going to kill them.
ដល់ប្រាប់ខ្មែរផងចឹងទៅថាមិនដឹងទៅណាជាទៅរត់ទៅដល់នេះចឹងទៅខ្មែរផងប្រាប់ថាកុំទៅខាងហ្នឹងទៅខាងនេះវិញបកក្រោយវិញហើយកំពុងតែខ្មែរផងបញ្ជូនថាបកក្រោយវិញហើយតាហ៊ានយួនឃើញគេមើលឃើញគេមានកៅឆ្លងមើលឃើញណាបាញ់រះមកគាត់បាញ់រះមកហ្នឹងខ្មែរផងវារត់ទៅដល់រត់ទៅហ្នឹងពួកយើងហ្នឹងពួកម៉ែហ្នឹងក៏រត់ទៅមុខត្រង់រហូតទៅអត់មានណាគេពួកវាអត់បាញ់ទៅប្រជាជនណាវាគ្រាន់បាញ់ទៅលើទេអត់ទេវាបាញ់ទៅប្រជាជនទេព្រោះវាមើលឃើញវាឃើញខ្មែរក្រហមដល់នេះបាញ់ឆិតអញ្ចឹងឆិតទៅប្រជាជនណាហើយនោះអាខ្មែរក្រហមហ្នឹងពុករត់ទៅពួកយើងបានដោះខ្លួនរត់ទៅមុខទៀតសិតទៅរត់លហើយឲ្យខោអាវអត់មាននេះទេសរត់កូនឲ្យឯងម្នាក់សក្តិកូនគ្រូសាយើងអូនឯងរែកទៅជើមួយដាក់បាយទៅជើពីមុខដាក់អាកូនដាក់ខ្ទូចលើស្មាដាក់អាធំឲ្យអាធំជីកកខ្ទូចមិនក្នុងជើក្រោយបាយហើយអញស្ពេកខ្លួនឯងស្ពេកហើយដាក់ចេកពិសិដ្ឋលើក្បាលរត់ Okay ខ្ញុំនិយាយទៅចឹង
All right, so I'm going to translate that real quick, guys. So she basically said that, so when these 10 families were held captive by the Khmer Rouge, the Vietnamese soldiers that told them to go ahead and head west, going towards Battambang, saw that they were held captive by the Khmer Rouge. They were far away, but I guess they were using some kind of binoculars, so they were able to see them. So they did some shots. They weren't shooting towards the civilian or anything like that, but I guess they did some shots that was close enough to the Khmer Rouge, and that actually scared off the Khmer Rouge, and they ran away. And as they were running away, these 10 families continued to head towards Battambang, and they were all running. Their clothes were ripped off, and they just continued to run and run. And I guess my family, my dad had my second brother in the front of him, and my oldest brother on his back, and he had also a luggage, and my mom held me, and then she also held like a whole bunch of bananas on her head, and they just kept on running. So okay, so we're gonna continue.
ថ្ងៃហ្នឹងរត់ពេញមួយថ្ងៃតាំងពីព្រឹកដល់ល្ងាចមកដល់បាត់ដំបងប្រជាជនគេមកនៅជាមួយពួកទាហានហ៊ុនសែនហ្នឹងគេឲ្យផ្ទះអីនៅគេមានអង្គមានទឹកព្រៃអីអស់ហើយដល់គ្រួសារយើងមកអត់មានអីមកសុំក្រោមផ្ទះគេនៅសុំក្រោមផ្ទះគេដេកមួយយប់ដើម្បីស្អែកឡើងដើររកបងប្អូនអត់មានលុយមានអីទេតែមហឹកហ្នឹងដែលអ្នកដែលចូលមកបានមុនគេចាយសិតតែមាសទិញម្ហូបទិញចំណីក៏មាសដែរដល់ពេលហ្នឹងយើងមកដល់បាត់ដំបងយើងផុតពីខ្មែរក្រហមហើយយើងចូលមកក្រោយគេកាត់ផ្សារកាត់ភូមិអស់ហើយយើងមកក្រោយគេរួចគេបង្កើតផ្សារកាត់ភូមិ
ប្រហែលឆ្នាំហើយបានយកមកដល់ក្រៅគេនឹងពេលអូខេពេលយួនចូលរួចយួនយកពួកខ្មែរបានពីមុនហ្នឹងណារួចពួកយើងនៅជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហមយូរប៉ុណ្ណាទៀត
ខ្មែរក្រហមមកកន្លះឆ្នាំដែរណា
កន្លះឆ្នាំក្រោយយួនចូលហ្នឹងអូខេ
ទៅនៅជាមួយខ្មែរក្រហមហ្នឹងពួកវាកំពុងវាយគ្នាពួកយួនវាយដោះយកខ្មែរពីយកប្រជាជនពីខ្មែរក្រហមហ្នឹងណា
អូខេមកនិយាយទៅតទៀតចង់ខ្ញុំដល់ប្រហែល
ហើយដល់យើងមកដល់បាត់ដំបងថ្ងៃហ្នឹងយើងមកដល់បាត់ដំបងសុំអត់មានកន្លែងនៅសុំក្រុមផ្ទះគេដេកមួយយប់សុំក្រុមផ្ទះគេដេកមួយយប់ស្អែកឡើងដល់រកបងប្អូនហើយដល់ទៅផ្សារអោខ្លួនឯងនឹងថាលឺសូថាទៅនឹងម្ចាស់នៅចិត្តបាត់ដំបងនឹងដែរនៅគេហៅរោងចក្រនៅចិត្តរោងចក្រតបាញបាទរោងចក្រនឹងឈ្មោះប៉ុន្តែរោងចក្រវាអត់ដល់លាយអស់ហើយឈ្មោះរោងចក្រតបាញហើយគោអោខ្លួនឯងនឹងថ្ងៃនឹងឯងនឹងដេកមួយយប់ស្អែកឡើងទៅរកនឹងគេប្រាប់អញ្ចឹងក៏ទៅរករោងចក្រតបាញហើយគេប្រាប់កន្លែងនៅគេប្រាប់កន្លែងនៅទៅដល់ម្ចាស់កំពុងតែម្ចាស់កំពុងឲ្យធូបបន់ព្រោះម្ចាស់ឮតំណែងថាគ្រួសារយើងស្លាប់អស់ហើយថាអូខ្លួនឯងនឹងគេអាកនធីងថ្នោតហើយពួកកូនចៅទាំងអស់គេដុតភ្លើង
ណាគេថាចឹង
គេប្រាប់ណាអ្នកដែលដោះមកពីម្ខាងមុនហ្នឹងម្ខាងអូមុនហ្នឹងគេប្រាប់ថាគ្រួសារ
រួចម្ចាស់អង្ការហ្នឹងគាត់នៅណា
គាត់នៅភ្នំសកលជាតិបាត់ដំបងគាត់អត់មានវេទនាដូចគ្រួសារយើងទេ
គាត់នៅភ្នំ
ព្រោះអមេងឯងធ្វើការខ្មែរក្រហម
អង្ការហ្នឹងគាត់នៅជាមួយអមេងអញ្ចឹង
អមេងអាឆេងមានធូរឯងធ្វើតបាញធ្វើអីទាំងអស់គេនៅសិនធ្វើការនៅជាមួយខាងខ្មែរក្រហមណាយើងនៅធ្វើការជាមួយខាងខ្មែរក្រហមដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅអត់មានបានចលៀតទៅនៅឆ្ងាយដូចយើងទេហើយដល់យួនចូលព្រឹបគាត់បានចូលទីក្រុងមុនគេ
មកពីគាត់នៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងហើយ
នៅកន្លែងហ្នឹងហើយដល់អូខ្លួនឯងទៅរកហ្នឹងទៅរកកន្លែងហ្នឹងម្ចាស់កំពុងរៀបបាយឲ្យធូបបន់បញ្ជូនទៅឲ្យខ្មោចយើង
អូខេខ្ញុំនេះសិន
ចាំអញប្រាប់រឿងទៀតគេប្រាប់ថាកូនយាយឯងខ្មែរក្រហមគៀទៅប្តីគេអាក្រនធៀងថ្នោតកូនហើយនឹងប្រពន្ធគេចាក់សាំដុតងាប់អស់ហើយគាត់សែនបាយរាល់ថ្ងៃដល់អូខ្លួនឯងទៅដល់ហ្នឹងគាត់កំពុងឲ្យធូបបន់ថាកូនអើយព្រលឹងកូនទាំងអស់គ្នាមកទទួលម្ហូបអាហារហើយអាផតទៅនឹងឲ្យប្រាប់ម៉ែអត់ដឹងទេហើយស្រាប់តែកំពុងបន់អញ្ចឹងប៉ាខ្លួនឯងអូខ្លួនឯងទៅពីក្រោយថាម៉ែខ្ញុំមិនទាន់ស្លាប់ទេខ្ញុំនៅរស់ទេម៉ែខ្ញុំនៅរស់អានោះប៉ាខ្លួនឯងប្រាប់មកអញអត់ទាន់ដឹងទេថាខ្ញុំនៅរស់ទេម៉ែថា
ចាំម៉ែគិតសួរម្ចាស់បច្ចៈរឿងហ្នឹង
អញមិនបានសួរហើយម្ចាស់ប្រាប់ដែរតើម្ចាស់ប្រាប់ថាគាត់កំពុងឲ្យធុបបន់សែនបាយបញ្ជូនទៅអុកខ្មោចម្
ចាស់ប្រាប់មកចឹងដែរ
អូខេហើយស្រាប់តែអូឯងទៅដល់ហើយម្ចាស់ក៏ថាបើខ្លួនឯងស្លាប់ហើយខ្លួនឯងកុំងើបមកលងម្ដាយធ្វើអី
អូខេបានខ្ញុំនិយាយសិនអូខេ Alright guys, I'm gonna go and translate that real quick before I get lost. So there are some funny parts in here too, I guess. So when we were told by the Vietnamese soldiers to go ahead and head west to Battambang, we continued to walk towards Battambang, and when we got there, we didn't have any place to stay. So we asked someone if we could sleep on the bottom of their house for one night. And at that time, there were some there were also news that my family was also dead, because from the first group that got freed by the Vietnamese soldiers, they actually told my grandmother, because my grandmother was already living in Battambang, so she was the first one to get freed. So, and all of the ones that were freed from the Khmer Rouge soldiers before told my grandmother that all your kids are already dead. Your son-in-law, they cut his throat, and all of your daughter and all of your grandkids have been burnt. They put gasoline on them and they burnt them, so they're all dead. And at that time, my grandmother was doing like an offering, which it's like some type of ritual where they give offerings
to the dead, like as far as food and water to give offering to the dead. And as she was doing that, my father came behind her and said, "Mom, I'm not dead yet. I'm still alive." And then my grandmother said, this is the funny part right here, I guess. My grandmother said, "Well, if you're already dead, stay dead. Don't come back alive. So don't come and haunt me." All right, so that's where we got so far, guys. So we're gonna go and continue.
ដល់អូនឯងថាម៉ែខ្ញុំមិនងាប់ទេខ្ញុំរស់មែនតើខ្ញុំរស់មែនតើហើយម្ចាស់ក៏ងាកមកឃើញក៏យំទាំងអស់គ្នាយំថាអូនអើយកូនគេប្រាប់ម៉ែថាកូនឯងគេអាកកនធៀងថ្នោតហើយប្រពន្ធកូនឯងនិងកូនទាំងអស់គេចាក់សាំងដុតស្លាប់ហើយម៉ែសែនបាយកូនឯងរហូតកូនអើយហើយកូនយំទាំងអស់គ្នាយំអោបគ្នាហ្នឹងម៉ែហើយនិងកូនហ្នឹងហើយដល់អស់ពីយំទៅហើយម្ចាស់សួរថាជួយណាប្រពន្ធកូនឯងណាកូនថានៅក្រោមផ្ទះគេមកម៉ែហើយអញ្ចឹងទៅក៏ម្ចាស់ថាលោកកូនឯងទៅយកមកទៅយកប្រពន្ធយកកូនមកនៅជាមួយគ្នាហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅពួកយើងក៏មានកន្លែងនៅជាមួយម្ចាស់ហ្នឹងដល់មកហ្នឹងកាលហ្នឹងនៅជាមួយម្ចាស់ហ្នឹងក៏ម្ចាស់នៅផ្ទះគេដែរយើងអត់មានផ្ទះនៅម្ចាស់នៅជាមួយអូនម៉ែមីធូនគេមានកូនខ្ទមយើងមិនអាចនៅជាមួយគេបានហើយយើងក៏សុំក្រំផ្ទះគេនៅទៀតសុំមកគ្រួសារហ្នឹងគាត់ឈ្មោះពូឆោហើយផ្ទះគាត់ខ្ពស់
ចុះម្ចាស់នៅណា
ម្ចាស់នៅមួយមីធូ
ចុះយើងមកយំមីធូអត់បានទេ
អត់បានទេកូនខ្ទមហើយមីធូអញទៅចយអីម៉ែអូគេអត់បានហើយយើងមកនៅក្រោមផ្ទះគេហើយដល់មកនៅក្រោមផ្ទះគេបានប្រហែលថ្ងៃទៅអូនឯងហ្នឹង
តោះណាម៉ែចាំភ្លេចអូខេមកដល់ផ្ទះគេរួចមិន
មកនៅសុំក្រោមផ្ទះគេនៅសុំក្រោមផ្ទះគេនៅបានមួយអាទិត្យហ្នឹងប៉ាខ្លួនឯងហ្នឹងដើររកាប់ស្លឹកដើររស្លឹកសុំឈើគេស្លឹកថ្នោតហ្នឹងមកធ្វើរោងជាប់ផ្ទះគេនៅដៃគេហ្នឹងសំដីគេនៅធ្វើរោងបាំងទៅស្លឹកហ្នឹងហើយដាក់អីនៅនឹងធ្វើរោងបាំងគៀនបាំងតែដបូលហ្នឹងនៅគៀនផ្ទះគេនឹងដល់នៅគៀនផ្ទះគេម្ចាស់ក៏មកនៅជាមួយម្ចាស់មកនៅជាមួយនៅខ្ទមហ្នឹងហើយដល់បានមកហ្នឹងយើងអត់មានអីទេអត់មានកអត់មានស្រូបមានអីទាំងអស់ហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅអូនឯងហ្នឹងថាឥឡូវនាំអឹកទៅរកស្រូវអង្គឆ្ងាយដែលរត់អ្នកស្រុករត់ចោលខ្មែរក្រហមហ៎តែខ្មែរក្រហមគៀទៅនៅសល់ស្រូវនៅសល់អង្គពុំខែជ្រោកហើយអ្នកខ្លះក៏នៅស្រូវនៅអង្គហ្នឹងអ្នកខ្លះក៏ប្រមូលយកឆ្ងាយគេមិនទាន់ទៅដល់គេខ្លាចខ្មែរក្រហមហើយអូនឯងក៏
ទៅឆ្ងាយទៅដល់រមើអញ្ចឹង
ទៅដើររមើហ្នឹងខ្ចីអតេះខ្ចីគោគេទៅដើររើសស្រូវរឿងកហ្នឹងដែលគេរត់ចោលហ្នឹងហើយដល់ទៅបានមកទៅបានស្រូវមកបោទៅកិនធឹងកហូបទៅបាននៅជ័យផ្ទះគេហ្នឹងហើយដល់កិនធឹងកហូបទៅអូនឯងហ្នឹងចេះទៅរកទៅឆ្ងាយអូនឯងទៅឆ្ងាយទៅបេះលហុងបេះទៅយងចេកអីយកមកលក់លីបោលហុងលីបោទៅយងចេកយកមកលក់ទៅបានលុយហើយដល់បានលុយទៅទិញខោអាវទិញអីសម្លៀកបំពាក់នឹងទៅហើយដល់ថ្ងៃមួយគាត់លីបោលហុងហ្នឹងទៅបេះលហុងលីបោលហុងធ្លាក់អាវហុងហ្នឹងធ្លាក់ប៉ះឆ្អឹងចន្ទីក៏ឈឺធ្វើអាការដែរដើរក៏មិនរួចប៉ះឆ្អឹងចន្ទីហ្នឹងព្រោះបោលហុងធ្លាក់លើហើយដល់អញ្ចឹងទៅអត់មានទៅរកអីបានទេរកបានទេហើយរកបានសោមកដែលប្រហែលនេះនឹងស៊ីចិត្តអស់ហើយកូនហើយអញផ្លេចដែលកំពុងរស់ស្រោមកហ្នឹងប្រធានភូមិហ្នឹងគេមានប្រធានភូមិហ្នឹងដូច leader of the ប្រធានភូមិហ្នឹងហើយប្រធានភូមិថាឡូវ
ដូច mayor
ប្រធានភូមិ
អូខេដូចតែ group leader ចឹងហើយ
group leader ហ្នឹងដូចមកភូមិហ្នឹងអ្នកឆ្លងមួយចឹងហើយថារុនឯងកំណត់ផ្ទះនៅគៀមផ្ទះគេអញ្ចឹងឥឡូវគាត់ចែកដីឲ្យ1ឡូអង្គទៅគាត់
អូខេមើលខ្ញុំឲ្យក្បោបប្រែម៉ែទៅយកទឹកឯង Okay. All right, so she's going to take a break. I'm going to go ahead and translate that real quick, guys. So basically so I don't know where we left off at, but I think my grandmother thought that we were all dead. So my grandmother turned around and that my dad told her that, Mom, we're not dead, we're actually alive. So she was so happy. You know, she gave him a hug and she was so happy, and and she was relieved that we were not dead. So baby, be careful. Okay, so my grandmother was so happy, and then you know, she so at that time she was staying with her other daughter, which was my aunt, and they lived in like a really small shack, almost like a house. I don't even call it a house, but more like a shack. So she lived there with her husband. I feel part of the garden. I got the garden Tom there, man. I feel part got. Mình cái đàn cao đây, mình cái đàn cao, tại nhóm cái đàn cao đây à? Okay, so my grandmother was staying with her other daughter, which was my aunt, and she stayed with her husband and her mother-in-law and her father-in-law and a lot of other people, so they didn't have any place for us to stay. So we asked someone for another place to stay for the night. And I guess we stayed on the bottom of someone's house for about a week, and at that time we had no food, no rice, nothing. So my father asked if he could borrow someone's like wagon, and what he did was he went back towards the Khmer Rouge territory to try to find some rice, you know, where all of the villagers fled, and I guess at that time they were harvesting rice, and the villagers fled. So they were running away from the Khmer Rouge, so some of them dropped the rice, and so he went deep, and then he was able to find some rice, and then he was able to get some papaya and to kind of sustain us, and then he brought back a lot of papaya one time, and he sold it, and he got a little bit of money, and then he continued to go back and get papaya, and one time I guess he got hurt from a bag of papaya falling on his back, and he wasn't able to do anything. He couldn't move. So and at that time we were still staying at someone's house. So one of the group leader gave us a piece of land for us to stay, and we're gonna go ahead and end it right here, guys, and we're gonna continue again next time. If you guys don't understand this, just leave a comment below and I'll try to explain everything. Like I said, as I'm doing this right now, I'm just kind of going off the cuff. I'm asking her and she's answering, and I'm translating at the same time. This is not really like, so we didn't rehearse this, we didn't do, we didn't practice or anything. We're just going along as we're just answering and asking questions as we're going along. I appreciate you guys watching. This is part 2, and there's going to be many more parts. I don't know how many more parts. Thank you. Bye.